What up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a video on my main account here. This is my Paladin. We're sitting at 3.22 million, level 116. I think for our login here, let's see if we can do our daily login. Where is it? It's up here. For daily sign-in, we are just now entering day 4. We've finished day 4. We're almost into day 5 of month 2 of season 1 here. We'll go ahead and do a little account overview, but today's video is mostly just about some more updating on the some Paladin builds that have been going on, and a little bit of general tips and tricks since my buddy. I'm down a little bit today simply because I just don't have any of the Hellhold gear yet. This is kind of where I'm sitting at. I was able to get one divine piece crafted up, but unfortunately I ran out of time. I wasn't able to get the last little bit of shards I had. I had 90, so I went ahead and sold them just because Hellhold's going to drop way better gear. I didn't get lucky. I didn't get any double drops, so I literally got hosed. I also kind of goofed it up. I would have had a piece today, but when I went to +2 my draws, or my dungeon attempts, not my draws, I was in a dungeon when I did that, and apparently when you're in a dungeon and you do that at the end, it'll auto-claim that dungeon's loot when you do that, which is very, 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 very annoying. It shouldn't do that. It should give you a prompt, hey, are you sure you want to redeem whatever, so you don't accidentally do things like that. I think it's kind of a flawed system in that way, so don't be like me and don't goof up, because I've set myself back one day exactly, because, or at least one attempt. So if I do 4 a day, then that's 40 shards a day. I now have to do an extra day, an extra draw, or get lucky and get a double draw to get myself caught back up. So kind of hurt myself there, but that'll boost our power back up over there, because if we look at my buddy here and we look, he's got 2 pieces. He got really lucky, and then I think he got a piece out of the auction house today. So this is my buddy Fenrir. Let me scroll back up here. So he's got 2 pieces, right? The weapon is 512k. Offhand is 217. Your offhand is probably the last thing you want to do if you're trying to get the most amount of power. Each of your main 4 pieces, your weapon, your helmet, your chest, and your boots, are going to give you the most power out of your gear, right? This gives you 246, but if you look, this gives you 500, right? If you swap this out, it's going to be another, extra 250 power, roughly, around 250 to 260 more power. So for me, the reason I didn't go for that extra 10 shards, it would have been 2 of my runs to get that, and I would have only been able to do 4 runs come day 1 of Hellhold. So I was like, nah, that's not worth it. Let's sell the shards, get 90. I got like 2,500. Donium for that. So that was kind of the reason there. We're starting to save up our relic draws here. We have, a bunch of here. We would have more, but we've kind of was saving. We had about close to this, not quite as many as these, but I think it was about half. And we ended up pulling a bunch of relics because I got a little antsy there, not gonna lie. Wrong thing. But we are sitting at 81, 70, and 70 on our relics, so we are not touching them anymore. These were at like 68 and 69. So I pushed and got them to 70 and said, okay, no more. We have 23 element here. We're starting to save up our skill draws. We were using them, so we're only at like 40 and one set of 10 there. Our cart is really nicely coming along here. We just got this up to 72. We maxed this out. I left these low on purpose under max because I'm using that time instead to feed into this. Once this is 72, I'm going to come back and level these 2 up to 72, and then we're going to focus these 2 as evenly as possible. Ideally, we get them all maxed. We still have quite a bit of time left, so I do feel like I should be able to do that. For Primo Stars, we are sitting at a nice 97 here. My goal is to hit 176. 152 would be fantastic, and if I don't feel like I can push 176, I'll probably stop there, and then continue to save up our material realms and everything, as your skills and your weapon and your gears are what's going to give you the most points here. I have been messing with some build stuff, so my conquest build has changed a good little bit here. I've kind of gone more into for guild bossing anyways, into this kind of setup. This setup does super well. This is not supposed to be on here. It's supposed to be this. I don't know why it's showing that guy. But for this build, it's a water build setup in a way. We did get our Star Shattering Slash to Divine. We used up all of our exchange tickets here for this, so we kind of pushed that. So we're going to start saving our tickets for Season 2, Tier 4 gear, and our skills there. Our bread and butter is to get a shield, right? So for guild bosses, we do a test here, right? We just do this. We do 50 rounds, right? The goal is to get all 50 rounds. With my guild here, I'm able to keep a shield up with running our Moppy. So this is allowing me to actually go more full offense side on my setup, because the goal with this here is we need a shield, right? This gives you so much attack bonus. It's actually really nice. Really nice. And with my guild, I know I have a bunch of sages and I have berserkers, so I know debuffs are going to happen, right? And I believe cold stack is considered a debuff and or an ailment, one of the two. I think it's an ailment. So this works out really well. The problem right now with this particular setup, unfortunately, it's the best damage setup I've been able to come up with, and I'll show you that compared to like my physical setup that I was running, where I just don't even care about my defense. I go full offense because I have healers, so I don't have to worry about my defense. But if we do this and we skip it, we did 1.37 billion, right? 1.37 billion. Lunar water threads activated 40 times at 132. Look how much damage this is doing right here. It is just shy of one of the best single targets other than Star Shattering Slash. This does so much good damage against single target bosses. It did 367. This did 343. I've seen this beat out this skill so many times. Average hits 1. This did 4 average hits. It did 25 debuffs, which this also did 22 debuffs. So it's a debuff that is doing. So that's proccing this. Our Phantomon giving us a shield. So if we retest this, and I kind of show you what I'm talking about here, for just a moment, right? We're activating this. This cold stack is giving you more damage every time you apply this. This applies up to 10 times. So you can get a 50% damage boost from your water, right? Boom, we're getting the slash. Okay, we have a shield, right? Look how much attack I'm getting. I'm getting an additional 104 attack because of a shield. And I get more damage once the debuff is on an enemy. And with water stacks going on, we're up to 3 now. That's a debuff. So we're getting more and more attack. Now this is in solo play, obviously. We did 1.42 that time. Like, we're doing more damage because we had a better odds of our water stacks there, which then in turn causes our frostbite to do even more damage. As you can see, we outpaced this by almost 40k or 40 million. Not 40k, almost 40 million, and we're getting right on the precipice of doing the very similar damage to Star Shattering Slash. This is doing 722% plus 741k, right? It's divine. This is only doing 125.7 plus 81, and it is getting very close to doing the same amount of damage as that. That is insane. Now, if we do the same skill setup, or the same test, sorry, not skill setup, but I go with my full offense set, right? Here's my full offense set. Pretty much very similar. I used to have heavy impact here, but I've come to really like Frostbite and the damage that it provides, right? So we are running Bloodlust, which is giving us a 50% crit rate. We are running this one, which is giving us another 20% crit rate and some extra. I think it's like 70 something that translates into 1%. So, let's say 30%, right? So we're getting huge crit buff bonuses here. We are sitting at an 8.9% crit rate statically. So we should be somewhere around the 90% crit rate, right? And we're going to do an additional 50% damage. We're using Sylphie here for the speed boost, as well as the 9% attack boost, 9.5%. So if we start this battle, right, we're going to do crazy damage. We did 1.26, right? But we were doing 1.4 with our other setup. We did 536, 399, 330. This is a very, very solid setup, especially against bosses that has water resistances. So if we do this another time, you're going to see it did a lot less. It's not as consistent, but it's doing really good damage. This is probably the second best setup that I've been able to come up with. But for guild bosses, you really need to have a team for it. My conquest setup, I use my other one. So these are two builds that I've kind of put together going on into this. This is kind of a solo PvE with some reflective armor. I have another version of this where we do rebound and reflective shield. This is such a good skill, guys. Do not sleep on this. This does crazy amounts of things. Like if we go all the way up to expert 6, right, and we do normal. We start this test, right? Let's go with a normal setup, right? My normal defense setup. Let's adjust this because I'm not too worried about this, right? A normal setup for a lot of paladins, right? We do this, we remove these. So we have this in here. And for solo, you might throw a shield on, you might throw another big attack, you might throw this on. It kind of just a freebie on this next slot. So I'm gonna put this on because it's a fantastic skill. So let's do rebound, right? Let's remove this. We'll probably put block efficiency, not block efficient. We need the other one, this one. Put this. That skill would probably be the same. You'll remove this, and you'll probably either throw this or this in here. In most cases, as a paladin, right? And then you'll probably run Aegis Wing or Armapi. So we'll just throw Aegis Wing on because Aegis Wing is such a fantastic pet. So okay, we got to round 11 out of 50. It says victory, but we didn't make it to full 50 rounds, right? With that setup, we didn't make it full 50 rounds, and that's a typical defense setup, right? That's going to be a bread and butter setup. Now we made it to round 11. Now if we put on my particular setup that I've come to enjoy, I have it labeled as PvP, but that's why it says a question mark, because it was a slot that I was using PvP, and then this might end up being a PvP setup. Look, we got to round 15 that time. We got an extra 3 rounds in there. Or 4 rounds, actually. Yeah, we got an extra 4 rounds. We did 8 million. So let's do this again. Let's see if our odds are different. Round 15. That seems to be pretty consistent on round 15. Like, this is more defensive. We're averaging 475k a turn. Now, let's see what we average with our other setup. And this is, you know, only one attack skill. Now, if we do this one, we did 475k a turn. We're probably going to see a better turn damage. We got to round 11. We did 676. But we're surviving longer, right? So as a defensive setup, it's really, really beneficial. This works really well, and you can adjust this too if you want to get more offensive with it. If you have, you know, if you're surviving enough with this and you want to get a little more damage, take this out, right? If you're solo, this is such a great skill. Keep this one on, remove this, put something else there. Like if I wanted to do more damage, right? I could probably remove this, put this in, and let's see if we get, you know, farther, right? Reflective shield is so good, guys. Do not sleep on it, really. I'll show you too. So even with that, we got to round 11. So that was very comparable, right? Reflective shield. Oh, that wasn't that setup. Huh. That wasn't that setup. I apologize. I goofed up the wrong setup. 1 second. I goofed up the wrong setup. I goofed up that wrong. Oh, I just didn't choose the right setup. Okay. We want to do this one, right? Okay. So we got to round 15 with this setup prior. We got to round 10, but our damage is way up there, 807k. So as you can see, not having that on there really hurt our defensive capabilities, and we actually got less because we went more offensive. So if we edit this, and let's say we don't want to use our Moppy for extra shields because that's why he's there. Let's say we want Aegis Wing, right, for extra effect hits and stuff, right? So we can remove this. Oh, no. Yeah. And we could put lunar water threads on here, actually, but back, no, we want the shield, right? Boom. Now, if you want to get rid of. I think I have another setup I want to see something on where I get rid of rebound entirely because I'm thinking, right? We got to round 15, 8 point. We did more damage actually. Granted, our average damage per turn is down, but we ended up doing overall more damage because things are proccing off of this. Look, rebound did 2.72 million, and we did 3.39 million with our reflective shield. It procced 36 times. This only did 25, right? And the reason rebound isn't going to be as effective is because everybody's accuracy is going to be higher. Granted, if you want to go more block rate, yeah, go more block rate. You know what I mean? I am sitting on quite a big amount of block rate. Like, it's nothing crazy. Like, I'm sitting at 31%, right? 31% plus 45, that is 79%. And then if you run this, you know, that's another 20%. So that's 99%. You know, you're running at 99%, probably a little over actually, and all that. The biggest reason why rebound I think isn't going to be as effective as the shield setup is because we're going to get access to a lot of really good things come season 2, and I think water build is going to be way more effective overall in season 2. And let me pull up loot and waifu and kind of go through my process here with you guys. So if we go to skill database, right? Pull this up. Here's the database. Let me adjust my recording here to allow, let's just do another source here. Display capture, add source. Source, add. Okay, so if we do this, right, we got the whole thing here. We pull up this, right? Loot and waifus. Okay. So if we filter this out, go down to classes here, we go to Guardian here. Guardian gets access to a few very, very nice things. One is Holy Aegis. This increases your defense and increases your effectiveness of defense-based shields granted by the caster. Now, I'm not quite sure what they're referring to when it comes to effectiveness, but it's either going to be one of two things. One, it's going to be a bigger shield, or two, your shield is going to take more damage before it gets depleted, right? Either way, it's a win-win, right? This is going to be so huge. Let's see. Iron Will is taunted. Oath of Vigil is another really fantastic one. You start the turn. Oh, wait, not Oath of Vigil. I'm sorry. I think it's Soul Protection. Yeah. You convert 50% of your hit points into a shield, which means you're going to be proccing Reflective Shield every single time you take an attack. Reflective Shield requires you to have a shield up, but we have so many things in our toolkit in a 1v1 situation, even in a multiplayer situation, you just don't run the bigger shield that you could get, right? You can then keep that up the entire time. Here's another reason why I think Reflective Shield is going to outpace it. Rebound is because of Swirling Blade. This is a water attack that you get, and if you add in water stacks with this, it is going to be so fantastic because every time you attack an enemy and you deal damage with this, you're going to convert 20% of that damage into a shield, right? Up to 50% of your hit points. So you can convert this up to half of your hit points. It's a 1-turn cooldown, so every other turn you're going to get this off, and then you have your other shield and your other shield, right? You're going to start out with the big shield. You can cast your 1-turn big shield or your medium shield or whatever. I think it's a Knight skill, right? Not Valor Surge. You can cast Guardian Ring. This is a 1-turn, right? You're going to get another shield right here. It's going to be at Divine 24%. If you can get this to Mortal 28%, you know, you're going to cast that. That's going to be fantastic. And how are you going to get more cold stacks on somebody? That's very easy. There's a very new charm that you're going to get called Frigid Aura. When an enemy ends their turn within 1 grid square of the area of the caster, you will put you will inflict damage as well as have a half chance here to inflict 1 cold stack a turn. The other fantastic one is this one. Each time you deal water damage to an enemy, you will apply 1 stack of cold for 2 turns. So you add Frigid Glint. Frigid Glint is almost going to be a mandatory thing, right? Frigid Glint, Holy Aegis. You don't even have to run Soul's Protection. You could then run, this or this, do more water stuff if you want, so you can get more cold stacks a turn. Like this is a 1 turn and this is a 0 turn. So you'd probably want to do Seismic Tide every turn, so that way you apply water stacks every turn, which then in turn is going to improve your Swirling Blades damage. Right? The more water stacks you can apply, the better. You can put Lunar Water Threads on, so that way you can pull the enemy to you, or even the green one, like the standard warrior green pull. This will go off every single time, right? You will keep them on you. You're going to AoE people. And then you're going to, as they try to hit you, you have Reflective Shield up. You have such a big shield. Think of a shield as extra health, right? You're doubling your health every time you attack. Well, essentially. But that's kind of like the general basis of this. It is going to be better than having to go into Block Mastery, right? Reflective Armor at Mythic is doing 224, right? Divine, it's 269. Immortal, it's 314% of your damage that you take reflected back, and it can crit. So you can stop worrying about so much of the block rate on your gear, and you can get some more things like crit damage. You can get defensive stuff, attack. Like you can become a defensive wall that is going to punish somebody when they attack you. The big reason I think Rebound is going to fall off as well is going to be from the Berserker class. The Berserkers become Conquerors. They have Piercing Assault. This is going to do a defense ignorance, right? So every time they attack you, they're going to ignore up to a certain amount of your defense. At Mythic, which is most players, you're going to have your higher whales and stuff that's going to be higher. They're going to ignore, at the start, 33% of your defense. Now, if they have buffs on themselves, it's going to increase that by 10% up to 3 times. So that's going to be a 30% increase that they can give themselves, which is going to make this 66%, right? So what is a good way to not worry about your defense getting ignored? 1, either have more defense, or 2, make it to where the defense doesn't matter, right? So if you have a shield and so much hit points, they're got to get through that shield every single time. They're going to whittle you down, but you're going to have more and more health every turn because you're applying cold stacks. The longer you can draw that fight out against a Berserker or a Conqueror or other classes, the more your opportunity you are going to have to kill them with Reflective Armor, the more you're going to have water go off. Like, I really need to get into Season 2 to really see how this is going to play out. But just with the way I'm seeing things and the way Reflective Armor is working and the way you have access to these shields and the way that shields are going to become so crazy come Season 2 with some of these crazy things. You can even throw on Light Array, so every time somebody attacks you, you're gonna send off a sword to them and attack them in an AoE. Like, there's so many cool things coming out. You have another taunt. You have Iron Will here. Enemies taunt to reduce damage. I thought I saw something where you take reduced damage with a shield, but that might have been a pet thing. I don't recall. That might have been a pet thing. But yeah, Frigid Glint is going to be it's going to be a requirement, in my opinion, if you want to do something like this, because of Swirling Blade. Swirling Blade is going to be the most important skill that we get. It is a 1-turn cooldown. And at Mythic, it's 210%, right? Divine, Immortal, goes up to 336%. This is going to be so strong. Imagine this plus an additional 50% water damage, right? And you have your affinity bonuses. Let's add in crit. You crit with this every other turn, you're going to get half your shield, half your health, right? Because this, if you could do enough damage every turn to get a 50% shield of your max health, that is going to be insane. These are going to be some of the biggest important skills, in my opinion. Oath of Vigil, just to get that big shield off. Wait, not Oath of Vigil. Soul's Protection, to get that big shield off, right? You're going to start with 50% of your health. Granted, your health's going to be low, but there's a thing you could do, right? We have other things in our toolkit here to give us health. We can run a Phantomon that gives us health every turn. So we start out low, but we can heal while they're hurting us. We could do Blade of Lament. We could do so many different options. I think Guardian is going to be so strong if you put it correctly coming into this next season. For example, here, if we go into the rankings here, there's a whale called Bouchy here, Bouche. They have the immortal version of this. This is doing 314% plus 269k at immortal. While shielded, reflect The caster reflects a percentage of damage taken back to the attacker as light damage once for each technique attack received. So as you have a shield on, every technique you take, you're going to reflect that back. And if you start out with a 50% shield, let's say this guy's got 1.8 million hit points, right? You can convert all that into a shield. So all that time that they're whittling you down before you can get a shield, you have a shield up. It's going to cast right before the battle. It's a pre-battle cast skill, right? You're going to have so much there. And if you can crit, which it can, imagine doing 300% of the damage they dealt to you back to them and then double it with crit damage, or, you know, you crit back with it. It is going to nuke somebody very quickly, and it's going to hurt them very much. It's going to be a very fantastic thing because, yeah, they can ignore your defense, but if you kill them before that matters, then, you know, it's kind of like a battle of attrition if you think about it. So I think going forward, this is going to be the most important thing right here. This right here. I think that is going to be the most important skill. We don't even need rebound anymore because, you know, it's reflecting 81.1% at immortal. Like, yeah, that's great, 81%. But reflective shield is doing so much more. Granted, the one caveat to reflective shield is you got to have a shield. So if you can run both statically, cool, great. As a paladin, it works great. Like, we can do this without really much issue. But come Guardian, this allows us to move away from that entirely, and we can become more aggressive and more offensive, which is going to be so fantastic for us. Like, Guardians are about to pop off come season 2, and I don't think people realize it. I know there's some servers already in season 2, but I haven't seen anybody talking about this yet. Oh, we went down. Awesome. They got us beat. They must have got another piece or something, or just power in general. Well, good for you. As soon as I get my mythic piece, we're gonna jump up a good bit. It's gonna be 500k power boost. We're gonna replace our chest plate here. It's sitting at 194, so we're gonna get like a 400k boost here. So we're gonna be at 3.6. Yeah, 3.6 million. So we're gonna get a big boost there come tomorrow on reset. But yeah, guys, that's kind of where I'm going on. Consider this a general Paladin update / future planning with Guardian. And you know, that's kind of where I'm at, guys. We do have our Phantomon here ready to go. It's mythic. So this is going to actually become very nice in the future because with an additional 19% crit rate, just from that innately, we don't need as much crit rate, right? Not a lot of people are running crit resistance from what I understand. Let me look at like somebody up in the rankings real quick. Like here, Hanaruko. Here's a berserker, right? Let's look at their stat and see how much crit resistance they have. 9.2%. Look, nobody's running crit resistance. Let me look at our whale, the number one whale on our server, right? They have 21% crit resistance, so that's pretty good. They have 82% crit damage and 40%. Jesus Christ, they have a lot of crit rate. But they're a whale, so I kind of expect it, right? 18% crit resistance. If we go to number 4 slot, which is my buddy right now, I don't think he has a lot of crit resistance. Oh, he actually has 13%. That's pretty nice. And 74. Wow. Yeah, he's got a lot of good crit. Good for him, man. My buddy's popping off with that. Hell yeah. But I think that's the route to go, guys. Get more crit rate. Use our shields to take care of 1v1 PvP situations. And we're going to be popping off. We'll have to wait and see till season 2 to see how effective it actually is and if it's going to work out the way I think it does. Granted, this is just theory crafting, but I love theory crafting. It's a lot of fun for me and it really racks the brain. But yeah, guys, try out those builds for yourself. See how you like it. Heck, we gotta. Here, we'll fight against my buddy. He's 3.5, right? We'll showcase reflective armor and rebound, right? Okay. So here we go. So this is the setup that I've been running. This is solo PvP. We're gonna start this. We're gonna do it at 1 speed. Okay, boom, boom, boom. He's getting rebounded. He doesn't have a lot of, accuracy. But look, all those yellows are from the shield getting procced. Now I should run our Moppy here just because it gives me a shield. Here comes a big shield, right? Boom, boom, double shield. We got to heal. Look at all that shield right there. He's got to get through all of that. Boom, boom, boom. He got through it, but look how much more damage he's taken because of that. How much I'm still alive. I'm not even running the best defense pet here because our Moppy would give me a shield as well as stacking defense, which would make me harder to kill each turn for 3 turns till I get the shield. But I'm not really attacking him at all. Here comes one big hit. Boom. You'll see that all the damage that I'm doing is going to be straight from this. He's going into his rage mode. This may save him because they get that, but I have quite a bit of hit points left. It's only for 1 turn, so if we can survive, yeah, we're good, right? We hit him with that. Here he comes. Rebound not working, but he doesn't get it off. We get the shield. Boom. Right? The more shield, imagine that with more effective shields and bigger shields right off the start. Like, he's going to take so much more damage. It is guaranteed damage, which is what's so good about reflective armor. Now, if we go into here, right? Okay, so I did 964,000 damage. I tanked 97 million. He did 1.26 million and didn't get the kill. He healed 77,000. I healed 91k. Right? If we do this fight again against my buddy, it'll be a lot different because I would throw a Moppy on, which makes my defense more. So Rebound did do very good work here because he doesn't have a lot of accuracy and he's doing a lot of multi-hits. It did 604k. Reflective shield here, or armor, because I didn't have shield up a lot of times, it only triggered 44 times and it did 1/3 of what that one did, right? So imagine if this could proc every single time. Bigger shields. Like, I can go more offensive, right? I don't have to run block this or this or this or that. You know, I open up more avenues here. I can make a damage skill. Like, I can get rid of this and put on the Blade of Water there that's going to give me a bigger shield than this will, just based off the damage for the exact same amount of turn durations, right? I could run that into this. I can become so much more lethal come season 2, guys. We'll have to wait and see. Keep an eye out for the video. We're going to make one. It's going to be there. Till then, guys, peace out. Much love. And I can't wait to see you guys in season 2.